Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vanessa if you didn't know. And today I'm going to be sharing a really juicy story time. If you didn't know, I am a makeup artist, so I have a really juicy stories. So I decided that today I'm going to be doing my makeup, getting ready, and we're going to talk about them. We're going to share, okay? So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, let's get into it. So a few years ago, I got an email and it was a bride. And this bride was from out of town, out of state. I'm not gonna say what state it was, but she emailed me. She was cool, friendly, and then I think the rest of the time she had me contact her friend for everything else because, you know, brides get busy. So we talked about the service and she ended up wanting to fly me out. So we talked about the service. I wasn't doing her makeup. I was only doing the bridesmaids. So she got all my information, and then when the time came, when it was like really close to the time, I was like, hey, do you have my flight information? And she's like, yeah, the flight information should have been, I put in your email, so it should have been emailed straight to you. I checked my email and there's nothing there, nothing. So I text her and I'm like, hey, like, I don't see an email of any flight ticket in any of my emails. I checked all my emails. I have a few emails. I was like, I don't see it. And she was like, oh, that's weird because I bought the ticket. And I was like, okay, do you have a screenshot of it? Because, you know, every time, everybody knows when you purchase something, screenshot it just in case, or write the confirmation number down, whatever you got to do. So she said, let me look through my laptop. So she looked through her laptop. She doesn't have a screenshot. She says she can't find it. So she says that, oh, let me just buy you another flight. I've been buying so many flights and I can't remember which one is yours. Blah blah blah. She was just like, let me buy you another flight. I was like, okay, cool. So she bought me another flight, texted me the confirmation, and we were good to go. To be honest, I think that she never bought the ticket. She just forgot because she was buying so many flights supposedly. So to be honest, I don't think she ever bought it. But anyway, she said the second time around, supposedly she bought another ticket. Okay, let's move on. The time comes and pack my things, go to the airport. I check in and the lady says, you have a buddy pass flight. Hold up, wait a minute. So when you get to the front, you have to check in to get a seat. And I was like, that's weird. And to be honest, please don't call me stupid or naive or whatever, or ignorant, but I did not know what a buddy pass flight was. I didn't know that things like that existed. I didn't know. I just had no knowledge about it because I'd never been on one. So I was just like, that's weird. What does that mean? Like, I didn't get what it means. And I didn't think to look it up what it meant. I just thought maybe she got a discount on it. All right, so then I get on the flight. Everything is cool. I get an Uber, get to the location. I do the girl's makeup. And then I was supposed to leave the same day after I was done. Because as you know, weddings start in the morning or early in the day. As soon as I was done, my flight was later that day. So I finished, I go back to the airport. Mind you, I didn't even get to see the bride at all. I just went to the Airbnb, did the girl's makeup, and then was on my way. I'm on my way back to the airport and I'm trying to get on my flight. And she goes, oh honey, the flight is full. You can't get on because you have a buddy pass ticket. And I was like, what do you mean I can't get on the flight? She goes, the flight is full. Do you know what a buddy pass ticket means? And I was like, no. She was like, it means somebody that works at the airport or for the airline or has a connection bought the flight. So then why can't I get on? And she was like, because it means that you can only get on if there's room on the flight. If there's no room on the flight, you have to wait till the next flight to get on. It's the same thing as basically a standby ticket. My jaw dropped. I was like, what? Does that mean I can't go home today? I immediately call the bride, and of course she doesn't answer because guess what? She's walking down the aisle. So I call the planner, and then I called one of the bridesmaids, and they said, oh, she's walking down the aisle. We'll have to deal with this after she walks down the aisle when she gets to the reception. So I'm like, I'm so confused. I'm at the airport, stranded. So I'm like, okay, Vanessa, think. What should you do? So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna purchase another flight and go home. So I go back and I ask her, is there another flight going out of here so I can go back home to Ohio? And she was like, no, there's no flights until tomorrow. I was like, what? Mind you, this was a Saturday. So I had booked clients on Sunday to do. I was panicking. I was like, how am I gonna do my clients Sunday morning if my flight isn't until tomorrow? I'm waiting at the airport. I call Roger. I call my parents. I'm like freaking out. They're like, oh my gosh, how did you not know? I'm like crying. I don't know what to do. This had never happened to me. And she did sign a contract, but that was never on my contract because it had never happened to me. And I didn't even know what a buddy pass was. So I'm just sitting there thinking about what to do, waiting for a call back from either one of the bridesmaids or one of the planners, and they don't call me back. So I call back again. They completely ignore me. Small world. I actually knew one of the groomsmen. So I decided to call him and he ended up not answering either. I was like, okay, so what do I do? I keep thinking, and I remembered that one of the groomsmen that I know, one of his friends, was there too. I was like, okay, let me call him. So I called him and he was like, oh my goodness, no way, like can't believe it, blah blah blah. He was like, okay, I'm gonna either try to pick you up or you're gonna have to Uber here. And I was like, can you pick me up? And he was like, okay, well, the wedding is going on right now, so you would have to wait a little bit. At that time, I had already been waiting for hours. By the time I got to the reception, it was nighttime. So I think my flight was like at 4 or 5, and by the time I got back to the reception, it was night. So let's say it was about 9 o'clock or something. I was at the airport for hours. So he didn't want to miss the wedding, so he ended up not being able to pick me up. I ended up Ubering to the reception location, and I meet up with one of the guys that I know that was a groomsman, and he was like, wow, I can't believe this, like, where are you gonna go, where are you gonna sleep? He goes inside and talks to some people, and then I also go inside and I go in to talk to the planners, and the planners give me some food, and they're like, we're gonna get you a flight for tomorrow morning, like, it's okay. And I was like, problem is I have clients tomorrow morning. So why, first of all, why would she buy me a buddy pass ticket? And why didn't she communicate to me about it? Why didn't she tell me, hey, I bought you a buddy pass flight ticket, so it's a standby ticket, for me to decide like, okay, if it's a standby ticket, I should leave an extra day and not book anyone. So the planners leave. As I'm sitting in the back, there was like a side hallway and I was sitting there so no one could see me. I walked in there with my luggage, looking crazy, a hat on. I finished my plate, and the guy that I know, that's one of the groomsmen, he comes back and he was like, okay, we'll talk to them. We'll talk to the bride and the groom after they're done taking pictures. So they had went outside. There was like a balcony where they were taking pictures. So he walked up with me, and there she was, the bride and the groom. They were taking pictures. We kindly wait, and we're watching her take photos, and she saw me walk up. She greets me. She goes, hi Vanessa, and I was like, hi. And she continues to take her photos. So we were just waiting, and then I see that the planners walk up to her and they were whispering. I don't know what they were talking about. And then as soon as they were done whispering, they walk off back into the reception hall. Like we weren't standing there waiting for her. So the guy I was with, one of the groomsmen, he was like, what? He was like, no, this is messed up. I'm gonna go up and say something like, we were standing here waiting for you to finish taking pictures kindly so we could speak to you and communicate. All I can do is laugh because at the moment I was so angry. So he goes up to them, he talks to the groom, and he goes, didn't you guys see us waiting to talk to you? And he was like, oh yeah, we're gonna go talk to her parents real quick. They never came back out. So the groomsman that I was with, he has me sit in his car I guess the wedding wasn't over yet, so they were dancing, chilling. I was sitting there waiting patiently. One of the planners comes in the car to talk to me, and she goes, "Oh, the bride is gonna get you another flight. Please calm down, like everything will be fine. She's gonna get you another flight in the morning because there's no flights available tonight." And I was like, why would she do that without communicating with me about it for me to agree if I was gonna do it or not? And she was like, well, she claimed that she had already bought you your first flight. You couldn't find it, so she had no choice but to buy a buddy pass flight the second time around. If you supposedly bought me a flight, why can't you find it? Where is the bank statement? Or why didn't you go to the airline and tell them, hey, I bought a ticket this time. Where's the confirmation? If you really did.
No way. No way. I want to see the receipts.
Have a ticket for me. Forget that. I just wanted to get home. So I told her, I was like, I booked people. She didn't communicate with me that my flight was a buddy pass flight. So I had booked people for Sunday. So she is going to have to compensate me for the people that I'm going to miss on Sunday morning. She was like, oh, I'll talk to her about it, but I'm not sure if she's gonna do that since she said she had already bought you 2 flights. And now this would be the 3rd one. And the reason why she had to buy me a 3rd flight was because I wanted to make sure that the flight for the next day would be a guaranteed flight, not another buddy pass flight. Because if that flight in the morning would be full again, I would have to wait again. And I guess she was mad about that. She goes back to talk to her to see if she was going to compensate me for the Sunday appointments that I would be missing due to her buying me a buddy pass flight and me not getting home the time I was supposed to get home. She comes back, the planner comes back, and she says that she's not compensating me for the appointments that I missed. And she's just gonna buy me the 3rd flight, and I'm gonna go home on Sunday morning. And for tonight, I'm gonna go to the bridesmaids Airbnb and I'm gonna go sleep with them. And I was like, I need to be compensated. I'm not supposed to be here. I was supposed to be home by now. The planner goes back and delivers the message. She comes back to me and she goes, oh, you know, she feels like you harassed her. She feels like I harassed her on her wedding day, made her feel anxious, made her feel uncomfortable. And then the planner ended up asking me, well, how many clients will you be missing in the morning? And I said about 3. Was it 3? 3 or 4? Yeah, I said about 3. She's like, well, how much would that be? And I told her the amount. And she was like, yeah, she's not gonna do it, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, let me just focus on getting home safely. So I go back to the bridesmaids Airbnb. I sleep there. I go home. The next morning, I give my peace of mind to the bride. I tell her how I felt. I told her how I missed clients the next morning, everything. And she goes, well, I'm still not refunding you. And if you continue to talk to me about it, I'm gonna get my lawyers involved. I don't know if she thought the word lawyer was gonna scare me, but honestly, I didn't care anymore. At that point, I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna take an L from this. It's a learning experience. And now I know that in my contract and any travel brides that I do, it's gonna say it in all caps. No buddy pass flight tickets, no standby tickets, none of that. Okay, hold on, let me do my brows and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with my eyebrows. So from this experience, I learned to make it clear on my contract. I also learned that if I'm flying out of state, it's not smart to book people the next day, because honestly, you never know. Your flight could be delayed or anything can happen So it's not smart to book people the next day. So I stopped doing that. You know what I should have done? When they told me this, when I checked in, I should have done my research and I should have looked up what a buddy pass flight is, or a standby flight is. I should have looked it up so I knew what I was getting into. The only thing that I wish was done is that I wish that when she had booked the flight, I wish that she communicated that with me. I wish that she would have told me, hey, your flight was a standby flight. You know what I mean? I wish that she would have said something. That way I know not to book anyone the next day, and that way I can decide, like, hey, if I want to still accept this gig or not, or send her her deposit back. You know what I mean? So that's the moral of the story. I definitely think I'll be sharing more stories. This was definitely a learning experience. 100%. Next time, I will never go through something like this. I have so many great stories from doing makeup for years. So I think I'll be sharing more, hopefully, if this does well. I'm not the best at telling stories, so don't judge me, but my stories are pretty juicy. Honestly, when I got on that flight and everything was cool, like I got on so smooth, everything was fine. I did not think I was gonna have a problem coming back home. I did not think one bit. I was like, oh, boy, was I wrong. Now that I don't have fake nails, I'm able to use my fingers for pressed eyeshadow so easily, and I love it. This is the NARS Powder Chrome Loose Eye Pigment in the shade Stricken. Just in case you wanted to know. It's very pretty, very aesthetic, with my background and my hair and my top. So yeah, never again, never again. To this day, I've never spoken to the bride ever again. I don't think I ever will. It is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
It's like, if she comes across this video, hi, how are ya? I'm over it. I'm sure she's over it. I'm sure she does not care one bit. I'm just thinking, like, I'm glad that I have the patience that I have, because if this would have happened to someone else, like, I can't even imagine like how they would react. Because I'm a very calm and collective person. I don't go crazy about things. I'm pretty good at, you know, keeping my composure. So I'm glad I didn't burst, you know, into anger. I'm glad I didn't cuss anyone out. But can you imagine, like, if somebody else that, you know, doesn't have a good temper, who didn't know that their flight was a buddy pass flight? Could you imagine? To be honest, I just can't imagine doing that to somebody and not telling them about it. She was probably praying that I would just come and go and there would be no issue. And then she would have gotten it for the low and everything would have been great. But unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. You guys, let me know in the comments what you would do if something like this happened to you, because I'm curious to know. But for sure, I will never forget this story ever in my life. It was definitely a learning experience. I was very proud of myself though. I ended up finishing, how many people? It was about 12 people in about like 6 hours, which is crazy because it usually takes me about an hour per person. So that was great. All right, I'm gonna put some lashes on. We got the lashes on for all you makeup artists out there. Please, if a bride or a client is flying you out, please make sure that it's on your contract that they are not allowed to fly you on a buddy pass flight. Please. I'm speaking from experience. Don't let anyone do it to you, because you will be sad, you will be angry. I remember being at the airport, and at one point I felt like, can you imagine being in a whole different state and you trying to go home and they tell you, oh, you're not going home today? Like, what? Mind you, I had never been to that place, so I didn't know anybody there. I didn't know anybody from that state. Nobody. I had no business being there but to get my money and do my job and leave. Period. At the same time, I do believe that everything happens for a reason. 100%. That was what was meant to happen. So it's okay. I learned from it. I moved on. The Bible says to forgive, so I will forgive. I have forgiven because I want to continue to receive my blessings. I just thought that, you know, I would share this so that no one else has to go through this, especially my makeup artist out there. I do not want any of you guys to go through this, or any gig even. Make sure that it is not a buddy pass flight. Make sure, please. Don't be naive like how I was, not asking questions, not Googling, not figuring it out right when I was told. So please, please. So I want to do a dark lip with this look. It's not everyday nude, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it and see how it looks. Hopefully we love it. I'm excited to see, you know, what you guys are gonna say in the comments. Okay guys, we are finito. This lip dried down really dark, so I added the Artist Couture lipstick in the shade Aphrodisiac to make it a little bit more chocolatey, and I love it. And yeah, do you guys like my new wig? It's a little different for me, but I like it. Actually, I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I hope you guys like it. Let me know if you guys love it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was entertaining, and for all my makeup artists out there, I hope that you learned something from this. I'm rooting for you, and don't do the same thing I did. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always. It means a lot to me and it helps me out a lot. Yeah, that's it for the video. So I'll see you guys next time. Toodaloo!